Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to be doing my first weekly update for July. I had to remember what month it was for a minute because apparently that's where I'm at already. But talking about everything that I read here, still a little bit slower going. I'm hoping to get moving and get some other stuff in here soon. But do have a few updates here to go. So first off with Assassin's Fate, which I started this with doing audio and I wasn't a huge fan. Then once I finished Curse of the Mistwraith, I started also doing physical. So altogether I'm about 65%, which doesn't probably look like it. I have about 300 pages left here of this one before I'm done, which still, probably a few days is what it should take. I did have to return my audiobook to the library because I got it over the app, and so I don't have that anymore, so we'll just be doing physical on this. But that's fine, because I didn't really like the audio anyway. I was just using it to help me make quicker progress so that I could do both. I did too, which granted this is my own fault, but a few of the days when I still had that, I started listening to Waylander by David Gemmell. And this is, I don't know which number technically it is, but this is going, this is the earliest chronological book, I believe, is Waylander. And this one was really interesting, and I really like the audio for these, and I have, I think all the ones I've done audio for, I've had the physical book. I started reading the physical book with the first couple, but I really like the narrator, Sean Barrett. Definitely maintains here. But this one was interesting because it goes back quite a bit before. We get to see the origins of the bronze armor of the Earl of Bronze, like where that comes from. We get to see the origins of the 30, which are a pretty big part of a lot of the later books. Not all of them, but they're definitely pretty prevalent. The 30, like the warrior priests. And we get to just kind of see, there's still, of course, the war is going on and everything, but we get to see some big events and kind of where they started. And what I really enjoyed here too is David Gemmell always has like the little afterword, has just like the most interesting stories about how he ended up picking what he did, or like what his inspiration was. Apparently, Waylander was the newspaper he was working at was in like a war with another newspaper that was trying to put them under, and so that's kind of, he started novelizing it kind of in his style, and so most of like the characters or people he worked with at the newspaper, and he needed it just kind of like for morale, but was having trouble turning it into an actual book to be complete. And then, because I absolutely love this, is so he said he was like doing a talk on writing, and he was talking about pacing and talking about how pacing is really important, because if you start too slow, then people won't get into it, but if you start too fast, you won't be able to drop back down and slow back down. And so somebody asked an example of like a first line that would be really bad to use because it would start things too fast, and he just kind of threw out the line, the priest was being tortured when the stranger walked up from the woods, or something like that, and said it, and just thought that, yeah, that would be a really bad line to use. And the first line of this book, chapter 1, they had begun to torture the priest when the stranger stepped from the shadows of the trees. And so just the fact that he ended up thinking about it and then turning that one line into the character of Waylander the Slayer. So it was really interesting. I definitely enjoyed this one, and I've been just having a blast with Witcher Nights. I'm looking forward to more Gemmell in general. And then I finished that pretty quick. Those are pretty short, and so I started New Spring on audio as well. I was debating on not, because this is pretty short. It's like 300 pages, and the print is much bigger than normal Wheel of Time books, so it's really not that long. So I was debating, but I'm like, I'll just keep it going with audio because I'm still doing Assassin's Fate right now. So started on this, and I'm only like 3 chapters in on audio, but that's where I am, because this is not a super long book. So this is the one we're doing for the Great Wheel of Time reread, or first time read as well, in the Wizardly Duo Discord, doing this and then going on to Lord of Chaos next month. So feel free to jump in chat, or I always say, like, you can still join the buddy read. Like, you technically can, but it's getting harder and harder unless you've already read some of the books and we're just waiting for a time to jump in later. Started this as well, and I feel like it's been longer since I've read this, because I think the last reread I did this first, and then went into the series versus the after book 5, which is where a lot of people recommend it for the first time, and that's what we're doing for the buddy read. But it had been a while, and so I'm just reading, and like the first chapter, I love the way it sets things up. The second chapter too, there's so much happening here, and it's really interesting getting to see characters we know 20 years earlier than the actual books, and see kind of how they became who they are, as well as just some really big things, including some like just small, they feel like offhand comments that are actually really important as well. So already having a good time with New Spring, and since that is short, and I should be done hopefully with Assassin's Fate in a few days, that's when I can jump in. I still need to finish Long Rave. I haven't touched that in a little bit, but then working on some of the other buddy reads like Wizard of Earthsea, and then just getting through 2 with a lot of other stuff, and I'll probably try to read the next Wars of Light and Shadow book later this month as well, once I get that in. So got a lot of stuff, but I'm hoping to get through. I'm planning to do some shorter stuff, just because I need some shorter books. I've done a lot of long stuff, and I've been slowed down, so I want to burn through some short books, kind of get my pace back, go from there, and that'll mean I have more stuff to talk about and the wrap-ups and more reviews to do if I'm getting through more books as well. So that's kind of where I was at for the first week, and what I'm looking at from here. So make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizardly Duo Discord if you want to chat books, whether these books, other books, really anything at all. It is a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.